were with us. The place we ended up with the last of the series is the bewilderment of Lord Brahma and Krishna showing Brahma what Krishna showed Brahma, and he's astonished. He falls to the ground and offers with great humility, is going to begin offering prayers. Chapter 14 is his prayers. Once upon a time, some years ago, I was considering different themes to speak on from Srimad Bhagavatam, and one of those topics was prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam. And when I started researching, there's so many prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam. There's volumes and volumes and volumes, so many prayers. So I abandoned that idea and just decided to take certain prayers. And one of the prayers that we know about from Lord Brahma most is Sri Brahma Samhita, which is chronologically very different than this situation. The prayers by Lord Brahma to Govinda comes even prior to creation. You got a prime seat here. You're a special guy. Now, if somebody comes along and needs to have a place to sit, like a couch or something, you're going to have to move, okay? But you're okay for now. We'll give you a signal if you have to move. And as much as Lord Brahma understood prior to the whole procedure of sub-creation, the building of a universe, here we are, well into Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. And on the one hand and on the other hand, on the one hand, he was challenging, and not only challenging, he kidnapped the cowherd boys and calves. At least he thought he did. And he interrupted Krishna's pastimes. That's, 3 big mistakes, offense. On the other hand, it was not just a curiosity matter. He wanted Krishna to display further exhibition of his unlimited potencies, because he had seen this very amazing situation of an 8-mile-long python being killed and given liberation. So, very powerful little boy, as we've been hearing. He was 5 years old. How old are you? 8. Dial back 3 years, and you were a little smaller, right? A little bit. 5. Krishna was 5. This little boy just killed this 8-mile-long serpent. Not only killed him, but gave him liberation, because everyone saw. We heard this discussion. Normally, we don't see the soul or see the presence of the soul even, because the soul is very tiny, but an arrangement was made so this bright light leaving the body of Bagasura could be seen by everybody. And Krishna gave him liberation. So Brahma saw all that. So he wanted to see some other fantastic pastimes. So he did what he did, so that Krishna could show and would show some other fantastic pastimes, and sure enough, that's what Krishna did. And we don't have to go through again all of what Krishna displayed, but it was very, even for Brahma, who knows how to build the universe, I mean, that's a lot of engineering. On the way over here, I was thinking about, actually several times, Houston has all these, I know there must be a name for it, skyways, highways that zoom up in the air, and they don't intersect each other. Besides, it's a feat of engineering that's like fantastic. I keep wondering, where'd they get all the ingredients to build all these things? From the earth? Just transformed states of earth. A lot of earth, a lot of skyways, flyways, whatever they call them. And that just, it takes a lot to do that stuff, and Krishna built the universe with all of its minute details. So his intelligence is superlative amongst living entities. And what he saw was overwhelming. So that's where we ended. Here's a little review. There's a painting of the cowherd boys sitting down for having lunch. Now, the little background, see this kind of overlay of a 8-pointed star on top of the painting? You can see that? Like not star, but petals of a lotus. So we had this in Gitanagari. One of the speakers, Garuda, was giving some description of the Rasa Lila section of the 10th Canto Bhagavatam, and one of the topics that he touched on was the way in which these prayers of the gopis are structured. It's like a lotus, like the chakra, heart chakra. And he spoke, the heart chakra has 12 petals. You know what chakras are? Little idea? Energy centers in the body. Yeah, that's the heart. So there's a center, and there's a way of diagrammatically depicting. So like in meditation, there's a procedure of raising the life air through the different chakras, and then eventually up to the top, and then projecting the life airs to someplace beyond the body through the chakras. Anyway, without all the details of how it's used part of Ayurveda, it's part of healing, it's part of this and that. It's known through Vedic culture what chakras are. And so he made a point, the chakras, the heart chakra is 12 in number, the petals of the lotus. So when it came to this, the petals are 8. So, not in a challenging spirit, but in an inquisitive spirit, some research was done. I didn't do it, somebody else did it. And there are 4 scriptural references that indicate within the heart chakra, which is 12, there's the core within the heart chakra that has 8. It's in the heart of the heart chakra. So I sent that research to Garuda, and he put his hands on his hips and said, 12. It's true, it's 12. And he sent images, and 12, they're green, and all the other chakras have diagrams. Anyway, so I'm just a comment. There's Krishna over here, that's Madhu Mangal, he's the Brahmana friend of Krishna, and the other boys having their lunch. And when they were having their lunch, we heard chapter 13, the calves started to graze, drink water from the river Jamuna and graze for fresh grass, and the calves started wandering around, and Krishna said, no, don't worry, I'll find the calves. And Krishna got up, and when Krishna got up, it left the calves and the cowherd boys. And then this painting is Brahma over there put the calves and the cowherd boys in a cave and came back to the scene to see what Krishna going to do. And when he came back, he saw all the calves and the cowherd boys, and he saw what he saw. And then a whole year passed while Krishna had manifested himself. We heard this yesterday. 3 sets of cowherd boys, 3 sets of calves. Was anybody not with us would like a review on 3 sets? You're all aware. You're like to review. A little review. You were there. But you'd like to see it here again. Okay. Brahma wants to examine Krishna's inconceivable, unlimited potencies. So he gets this bright idea that he's going to kidnap or hide in a cave the calves and cowherd boys. So when Brahma got that idea, 1, 2, 1, Yogamaya hid Krishna's cowherd boys, the eternal cowherd boys that are with Krishna eternally. Yogamaya concealed them, and Mahamaya manifested likenesses of the cowherd boys. So now we have 2 sets. The ones that Yogamaya concealed, out of sight, and then the Mahamaya forms in exact likeness, and those are the ones that are in the cave. And then the 3rd set is Krishna expanded himself in exact likeness of each of the calves and each of the cowherd boys for the purpose of a 1-year pastime. The 1-year pastime was this. For 1 year, when the cowherd boys went back to their home, it was Krishna, not the cowherd boys, because the cowherd boys, the first set, they were hidden somewhere under the protection of Yogamaya. So what went back to their homes was Krishna in the form just like the cowherd boys for a whole year. And the purpose, there was multiple purposes. One of those multiple purposes was that the mothers of the cowherd boys, they loved their boys, and they loved Krishna more than they loved their boys, because he's Krishna. So, and they desired to have Krishna as their son, so Krishna became their son for a whole year. But they were thinking, this is my son. And Krishna was becoming their son, fulfilling their transcendental desire to have Krishna as their son for 1 whole year. This is a scene where during that year, the cows were grazing up on Govardhan Hill, and the cowherd men were with the cows, and then the boys were at the bottom of Govardhan Hill with the calves. And when the cows saw their calves, who were Krishna, they started running. Cows running, it's funny. Running down Govardhan Hill. And the cowherd men were with their sticks raised, shouting, whatever the local Brijbasi language is, stop. But they didn't stop, because they were spontaneously attracted to being with the calves who are Krishna. And the men followed the cows down to the bottom of the hill, but when the men saw their sons along with the calves, they completely forgot everything, and as you see, they just embraced their sons, who were Krishna. And the whole scene of keeping the cows, because the calves are going to take milk from the cows. The purpose of the pasturing is the cows can produce milk and back in their homes. Anyway, so there's Krishna and Balaram overseeing all this. Now this happened in the course of 1 year, on earthly time, but in Brahma's time it was but a moment. Relative time. Yes? Time is relative. So for higher beings, I was just hearing this morning, Prabhupada recorded lecture. There's demigod time and there's Brahma time. Brahma time is different than demigod time. For demigod time, I'll try to say it correctly. We experience from full moon to full moon, and then there's the waxing and the waning of the moon. The full moon to a new moon, again to a full moon. So how many days? 15 days. So Ekadasi, Dwadasi, Trayodasi, Chaturdasi, and then, so 15 days on earthly time is 1 day in the heavenly realm. And then the other is their night. So there's day and night. 1 day and 1 night in the heavenly realm is 1 month in the earthly realm. And then we go higher. For Lord Brahma, 1 moment is 1 year. Interesting? Interesting. So during that 1 year that passed, Krishna is enjoying these pastimes. Here's what Brahma is flying above the cowherd boys, and he sees Krishna manifesting as for each of the cowherd boys and each of the calves forms of Vishnu or Vasudev, who is the worshipable deity of Brahma. Krishna is reciprocating with Brahma in this way. And now we're getting ready for prayers. So that's the end of chapter 13 recap. And now we're ready for chapter 14. In chapter 14, there are different sets of prayers, and we're going to be discussing this first set that you see in the lower left, where Brahma in his prayers, he's describing, starting with Krishna's form, Krishna's position, the transcendental nature of the Supreme Person. 1 through 8, that's what we're going to be discussing. Whoops. And then, it should be 1 through 7. And then 8, Brahma's feelings of humility, like he's really embarrassed what he just did. You're this, and I'm ashamed. I'm embarrassed. Whoops, Krishna. Then he describes the inconceivable potencies, which were exhibited to him, but there's a long section. And then the knowledge versus ignorance, glorious gopis, and glorious Krishna. So this presentation has 6 parts. And we're just going to be doing the first part, understanding Lord Krishna part. So Brahma has directly realized that Krishna, or the son of Nanda Maharaj, is the source of all forms of Satchitananda. He's the source. And having attained firm devotion at the lotus feet of Krishna, he's going to offer prayers. Here's the first prayer. My dear Lord, you are the only worshipable Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore I offer my obeisances and prayers just to please you. And he's going to now, in the continuing part of this first prayer, he's going to describe the beauty of Krishna. He's enthralled. Oh, son of the king of cowherds, your transcendental body is dark blue, like a new cloud. Your garment is brilliant like lightning. The beauty of your face is enhanced by your gunja earrings and the peacock feather on your head. Now this first verse gets a lot of attention. This is directly what the verse is saying. And then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is going to embellish or expand the poeticness of each of these features. So you can hear it twice, but of the poetic embellishment next. Wearing garlands of various forest flowers and leaves. Let guess what? There are people still coming in. And guess what? We're going to ask you all to move forward so the people that are still coming in can have a seat. You're okay. But you got to move up. And thank you for moving up a little bit. The people that are behind, though, they'll also thank you. Okay, let's do this. Equipped with a a herding stick, a buffalo horn, and flute, you stand beautifully with a morsel of food in your hand. The way this passage started from chapter 13 is the cowherd boys were having lunch. And Krishna was in the middle of his lunch, and in his left hand, because he eats with his right hand, he was holding some yogurt and some fruit. And he's still holding the yogurt and fruit. And he's looking at Brahma with yogurt and fruit in his left hand. See? His left hand. Jiva Goswami writes, most worthy of worship, you are worthy of praise, because today I have seen the whole material and spiritual realms enter into and emerge from you, the Supreme Brahman, composed of power and sweetness, with heart attracted to Krishna's childhood pastimes. Brahma points out more particular items. So there's a short list in this first verse. Here's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who's going to expand and explain further the poetry of this first verse. If without his help, I wouldn't catch the poetry. So his body is compared to the color of a dark rain cloud. And his commentary says, the earth gets relief from the scorching heat of summer through the cloud of Krishna's rain. Like the Chataka bird, devotees sustain their lives with the mercy pouring from the rain cloud of Krishna. Now, it's poetry. I learned this from Prabhupada. A Chataka bird doesn't drink water except from water that's coming down in the form of rain. I don't know why, but that's what Chataka birds do. And they won't drink water from a reservoir or any other place. It's just without rain they die. But when it rains, that's their water. So similarly, for the devotees, the downpouring of the rain of mercy of Krishna sustains their lives, because we need water to sustain our life. Without water, you'll die. We need water. It's a very valuable resource for life. Anyway, a big percentage of bodies is made of water. So we need water. And devotees need Krishna. So he's like the color of the dark rain cloud. It's poetic, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's unpacking. Krishna's wearing gunja berry earrings, forest flower garlands, plural, and peacock feather. We all know the peacock feather. So he writes that lowly gunja berries are abundantly available in Vrindavan. Nothing special about gunja berries, but when Krishna wears gunja berries, the indication is that this land of Vrindavan is superior to Vaikuntha. This precious jewels in Vaikuntha are not as exalted as the very simple gunja berries that Krishna decorates himself with. And the forest garland of wild flowers and leaves around Krishna's neck is superior to those made of the parijata flowers from Swarga. Now this is poetry, and it's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's bhakti, and he loves Srimad Bhagavatam, and he loves Krishna, and he loves taking verses and extracting sweetness that most of the rest of us wouldn't capture. Krishna's cow-herding stick buffalo horn yogurt rice in hand. The morsel of yogurt rice in Krishna's hand, his stick and horn, indicate the superiority of Krishna's cowherd boy form over all others. That's Vishwanath. And then Krishna has very soft feet. You know, a little calf has a soft nose and a soft face, but the soft calf is enjoying the softness of Krishna's feet. Nice painting. Those wandering in the forest of Vrindavan become filled with ecstasy upon seeing Krishna's footprints. We know that that's what happened with Akrura. You know the story? Akrura? You know who was Akrura? No? Akrura was a member of the Yadu dynasty. He was he was from the royal family, but his service was like that of a minister. So Kamsa sent Akrura as a member of the royal family to go to Vrindavan with the assignment of bringing Krishna from Vrindavan to Mathura, so Kamsa could kill him. Akrura was really happy, because no one can kill Krishna, and he knows it. But he gets to go see Krishna. And he's riding his chariot, anticipating, I'm going to meet Krishna, I'm going to meet Krishna. Imagine if you knew at the end of your day you're going to meet Krishna. Your heart would be beating, and Akrura, in the soft sand of Vrindavan, sees Krishna's footprints. And he goes in a swoon, he falls off his chariot and rolls in the ground, and the marks of Krishna's footprints in the soft sands of Vrindavan, and offers prayers to the sand of Vrindavan and Krishna's footprints. So what to speak of the cowherd boys that are with Krishna all the time? They like Krishna's soft feet. They like the ecstasy of seeing Krishna's footprints in the soft sand of Vrindavan. Vishwanath goes on by stating that Krishna is the son of a cowherder. That's Nanda and Yashoda. This is a painting of when childhood play of Krishna. Mother Yashoda pointed to the shoes of Nanda Maharaj and indicated to Krishna, because he didn't speak, so take the shoes to your father. So Krishna lifted the shoes, put the shoes on his head, toddled over and brought the shoes from his father. So imagine how Nanda Maharaj felt. It's like, shoo. So Krishna is Nandana, the son of the cowherd, or Pashupa Anga Jaya. Nanda, in this way, is superior to Vasudeva. Vasudeva is back in the city, and Nanda is in the village as a cowherd person. They're they're related as friends, dear friends. But Vasudeva was in the royal family, and Nanda had the service of being the king of the cowherds. It's a long story of how that happened, but the king of the cowherds. So the cowherd people were part of the city, but like a city needs produce, they need vegetables and products so people that live in the city can eat. So the people in the village, they're tending to the land and the cows to supply necessities for the city. That's the relationship. That's their livelihood. But it's very simple livelihood. But that very simply livelihood in Braja is by rasa superior even to that of the father, Vasudeva. Vasudeva and Devaki they're dear to Krishna. There's mother and father. He chose them to take his birth in their family. But then, even before the next day, he left and went to Vrindavan to be with Nanda and Jasoda. So they're very special. This is Vishwanath. Brahma, immersed in a great ocean of Krishna's sweetness, mixed with respect, because there's sweetness that he recognizes. At the same time, he has full knowledge that Krishna is the personality of Godhead, and therefore there's respect. That is, Madhurya and Aishvarya are mixed. The sweetness and the opulence are mixed, and Brahma understands both. In the ocean of devotion and knowledge, praises Krishna with affection and asks questions. The questions are coming up. So when Krishna hears all, this is just the first verse, and he is anticipating he's going to say more, so this is Vishwanath reflecting what Krishna might be thinking. Listen, Lord Brahma, you're the master of all powers in this universe, while I am but the son of a cowherd man in the forest. You are an ancient and exalted personality, and I'm but a small boy. You are knowledgeable in all the Vedas, but I'm an ignorant keeper of cows, and so unaware of the proper conduct that I run around with some yogurt and rice in my hand. I'm not qualified for your praise. That's our Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, saying how Krishna is taking this first prayer. And now we're moving on to the second prayer. Nice painting. A little bit about the painting. Very, very early, 1970 or 71, Krishna book came out. Prabhupada was working on the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, and he fast forwarded because he didn't know how long he would live. So he did a summary study of Canto 10 because he didn't want misunderstandings of Canto 10. So he did a summary study, Krishna book. And it just follows chapter by chapter by chapter, the 10th Canto Bhagavatam. And then the artists were directed to make paintings, and the paintings were kind of rudimentary. You know, newer artists that really weren't so skilled. And that was it, Krishna book. And then sometime later, they were translated, Krishna book was translated into European languages. Italian, German, Swedish, this and that. So they did their own artwork. This is a BBT painting depicting, there's Brahma offering his prayers to Krishna from the BBT Krishna book. My dear Lord, neither I nor anyone else can estimate the potency of this transcendental body of yours, which has shown such mercy to me, and which appears just to fulfill the desires of your pure devotees. Meaning all the cowherd boys and everybody in Vrindavan. Brahma is very wise, and he understands who Krishna is and what he's doing. He's fulfilling the desires of his devotees, even in this little childhood form. Here's a B.G. Sharma painting, similarly. My mind is completely withdrawn from material affairs. I cannot understand your personal form. In other words, in reverse, if one is too much attached to material affairs, it's going to block an understanding of spiritual. Practical is fine, but too much is not fine. And too much blocks spiritual understanding. So I have withdrawn my mind from material affairs. I cannot understand your personal form. How then could I possibly understand the happiness you experience within yourself? This is his prayer. Jiva Goswami comments, Brahma does not state in this verse that Brahman, or the realm of spirit, is incomprehensible in its impersonal feature, for he explains that Krishna, with his personal features, is more difficult to understand than Brahman. They're deriving meanings from the words of Lord Brahma. That's what commentators do. Though you manifested many forms, you are only one form. This is the painting we saw yesterday. This is Krishna seated with the cowherd boys, you see, on the same level. And simultaneously, the cowherd boys manifested forms of Narayan. Each one of the cowherd boys having the cowherd boy form, which is Krishna, and the Narayan form, which is Krishna. And then we heard so many other things. The energies of creation were all surrounding, in a personified way, surrounding the Narayan forms and offering prayers. There's a lot of energies, a lot of forms, a lot of prayer, a lot of noise. But, Vedic sounds of glorifying the Supreme Lord. So he now is expressing what he saw just previously. Many forms, one form. That form showed me mercy, because you protect my creation by destroying adharma and propagating dharma. Now here's an earlier version, BBT earlier version. There's Krishna, there's the cowherd boys, and there's the forms of Narayan, and over on the right side, that's Lord Brahma with his mouth open like, wow. And up in the sky, there's some demigods watching the whole scene. No one can understand the greatness of your cowherd boy form, superior to your form as the Lord of Vaikuntha. Your form is beyond material qualities. This is Sanatana Goswami. Because of this, your form, cannot be understood by the inner mind, what to speak of direct perception. One can't imagine, it's inconceivable, his spiritual form. And here's the third verse. Now this is a very well-known verse, so you can see it's color-coded. And we're going to spend some time on verse number 3. Jnane, if you know the verse, you can say it with me. Jnane prayasam udapasya namanta eva jivanti sanmukaritam bhavadiya vartam stane statakshruti katam tanavan manobhir ye prayaso jita jitopyasitais trilokyam. Very nice sounding verse, and we're going to take these words, color-coded words, and go with our acharyas into understanding the meaning of this important verse. Those who, even while remaining situated in their established social position, that's sthane statak, throw away the process of speculative knowledges, sthane statak, jnane prayasa, udapasya namanta eva. They throw away the speculative process and Tanavan Manobir, with their body, words, and mind, offer all respects to descriptions of your personality and activities, dedicating their lives to these narrations, which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees, certainly conquer your lordship, although you are otherwise unconquerable. Ajita becomes Jita by those who chant his glories. He submits himself to those personalities. Jnane prayasa udapasya. Udapasya. Not even a slight endeavor. Not a slight endeavor for what? Jnana, the process of speculative knowledge. One should not even slightly endeavor to understand the absolute truth by the process of mental speculation. Jnane prayasa udapasya. Why? It invariably carries one to imperfect, impersonal understanding of God. So that's rejected by Lord Brahma. Instead, namanta, like namaste, very similar Sanskrit root, offering obeisances, namanta, jivanti sanmukaritam bhavadiya vartam. Engage in hearing the sounds of Krishna. A devotee who always hears about Lord Krishna will go back home, back to Godhead, even if he can do nothing except maintain his existence and hear topics concerning the Lord. That's a pretty nice promise. And it's true. Stane statak, that stay in your position. You don't have to give up doing what you're doing. Whatever you're doing, within dharmic boundaries, whatever you're doing is just fine. You don't have to become a brahmana, you don't have to become renunciate, you don't have to become this or that or the other thing. You don't have to become. Just stay in your position. Stane statak. Shruti gatam, by the process of hearing the topics of Krishna. Tanavan manobir, dedicate yourself, body, mind, and words. Even if the devotees stay in their social duties, they can conquer Krishna through their body, that's touched the lotus feet of the Lord, their words, vak or van, call him to come with their words, their mind, mana. Shruti gatam, taking shelter of hearing the topics of his name, form, pastimes, and qualities. It's a very important verse. This is what we do. Their body touches the lotus feet of the Lord in this deity form or the scripture form or sound vibration form. Words, call him to come with their words. Ye prayaso jita, that's the apostrophe, jita, that's ajita. Ajita becomes jita. Ajita, unconquered. By one's physical abilities, mental power, verbal expertise, or any other material faculty, he can't be conquered. Nice painting, yes? Ajita becomes jita by pure devotees. How? Krishna is conquered by his pure devotees because they offer their body, mind, and words unto him, specifically hearing messages about him. Krishna's body, tanu, Krishna's body is conquered because he always remains by the side of his pure devotees. Another beautiful painting. So she's telling Balaram, don't disturb, Krishna's asleep. And he's touching Krishna's ankle and shh, Krishna's resting. Nice painting. Krishna's words are conquered because he always chants the glories of his devotees. Of course, the devotees chant his glories, but he chants the glories of his devotees. Krishna's mind is conquered because he always thinks about his loving devotees. So, it works in both directions. The devotees think of him and he thinks of his devotees. This is a very nice painting. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu having discussions with, who recognizes the person? Ramananda Roy, on the bank of the river Kaveri. So it's a nice pastime from Chaitanya Charitamrita, but they engage in discussions about Krishna's pastimes. I mean, it goes back from the context is Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, came to realize his divinity. Before, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was like super scholar. He was a grahastha, but he had thousands of sannyas students because he's a super scholar. And he was training them and training them and training them to be super scholarly. And sannyasis under his care were being trained in that way. And when he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted to protect him by teaching him Vedanta Sutra. You know this pastime. Many of you know the pastime. So for 7 days, not nights, but 7 days, super scholar Sarvabhauma was instructing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on Vedanta Sutra. And Lord Chaitanya didn't say anything for 7 days. So on the 8th morning he said, I don't know if you're understanding what I'm saying because you don't say anything. Are you understanding what I'm saying? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I understand Vedanta Sutra very well, but your explanations are covering the meaning every time you speak something more. Oh, really? Well, if you understand Vedanta Sutra, then you explain. And he explained so simply and so elegantly and elevated teaching that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya fainted and paid his obeisances. And then Lord Chaitanya showed his Sadbhuj form, his 6-armed form. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya offered prayers, indicating he's the personality of Godhead. Then some time passed. Lord Chaitanya wanted to look for his elder brother who had taken sannyas and had moved to South India. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, whatever you do, when you're doing your South India tour, visit Ramananda Roy. I met him long ago and I thought he was a sentimentalist. He was a governor of the whole of, then was Madras, now Chennai, the governor, he's a governor. But he was not just a, administrative type person. He's a super elevated spiritual person. Be sure to meet him when you travel. So they meet and they're having discussions on Krishna Katha. And they're very, very elevated section, it gets higher and higher and higher. And Ramananda Roy says, I've never spoken these words before. You're making me speak these words. I can understand. So they very high topics. And one of the verses they discuss is this verse verse number 3 of Canto 10, chapter 14. It's a very important verse. They discussed it. Here's verse 4. And we're going up to 7. Bhakti is superior to Gyan as the essence. My dear Lord, devotional service unto you is the best path for self-realization. If someone gives up that path and engages in the cultivation of speculative knowledge, boo, bad idea. He will simply undergo a troublesome process and will not achieve his desired result. So the previous verses, Jnane Prayasa Udapasya Namanta Eva, now he's saying those that take the speculative method don't heed verse number 3, but do verse number 4, they're not going to get the result. It's likened to beating an empty husk of wheat without getting grain. So there's some agricultural ladies, they're is a thrashing machine. They take the chaff and thrash it, and down below the grain falls through those poles, and then they gather the grain and throw away the chaff. So if just beating the already, where the grain has already been withdrawn, you don't get any benefit. You'll gain trouble. That's the comparison in the purport. Verse number 7. So now it's reject Gyan. Those who take Gyan, they don't get any benefit. And now, this is now bhakti compared to yoga. This is Lord Brahma's prayers. Oh, Almighty Lord, in the past, many yogis in this world achieved the platform of devotional service by offering all their endeavors unto you and faithfully carrying out their prescribed duties. Through such devotional service, I find it distracting when you hold your camera up and take pictures, so please don't do that. Through such devotional service, perfected by the process of hearing and chanting about you, they came to understand you, easily surrender to you, and achieve your supreme. So yogis can move from the position of yoga to bhakti. Yoga meaning, the Ashtanga yogis, that kind of category of yoga. They will not necessarily, but they can. How? By the process of hearing and chanting. By the process of hearing and chanting. A yogi, an Ashtanga yogi, it's like Patanjali yoga. There's a way of realizing Supersoul. That's largely what Patanjali Yoga Sutra is, the Ashtanga Yoga system. But you add to that system hearing and chanting the activities of Krishna. So importance in hearing and chanting, which is what we're doing, exactly what we're doing. Verse number 6. Non-devotees, that's another category, cannot realize you in your personal feature. Nevertheless, it may be possible for them to realize your expansion as the impersonal supreme by cultivating direct perception of the self within the heart. Now that's very rare, but that's possible. They can do this only by purifying their mind and senses of all conceptions of material distinctions and all attachment to material sense objects. For a materialist, that's pretty tough. Only in this way will your impersonal feature manifest itself to them. Highly unlikely, but they may. In time, this is verse number 7, learned philosophers or scientists might be able to count all the atoms of the earth, particles of snow, or perhaps even the shiny molecules radiating from the sun, the stars, and other luminaries. Not likely. But among these learned men who could possibly count the unlimited transcendental qualities possessed by you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who have descended onto the surface of the earth for the benefit of all living entities. So that's it. We're going to cover some other points, but going back, without prema bhakti, no one can understand your transcendental form. Even those who have surpassed the material ocean full of knowledge cannot understand that form. You know the verse from Bhagavad Gita? Bahunam jamanamante gyanavan mam prapadyate Vasudev sarvam iti samahatma sudra. So Krishna is saying the same thing in Bhagavad Gita, and then Brahma is saying the same thing in 14th chapter, Canto 10. No one can describe your innumerable sweet qualities, what to speak of realizing those qualities. So there's the subject matter and there's realization of the subject matter. Brahma's got realization. What to speak of then being able to describe your astonishing qualities which engage you in sweet pastimes such as stealing yogurt? No, the childhood pastimes of Krishna are their spiritual potency. Stealing yogurts, that, children do naughty things. Stealing yogurt is maybe one of them, and Krishna keeps doing it. And love for Krishna grows as the gopis are coming to Mother Yashoda saying, you know what, your son breaks into our storerooms and steals. She said, no. Do you know how many cows Nanda Maharaj has? 900,000 cows. What's he doing? So he keeps hearing and hearing. The relish is discussing Krishna. Not that they're not protecting their storage rooms. They're just interested in discussing topics. They'll give him, whatever milk and butter and yogurt he wants, no problem. Who can enumerate your greatness in detail? No one can do so. You have manifested your qualities for the benefit of all the people of the universe. This is Sridhar Swami, who is one of the earliest of the commentators in Srimad Bhagavatam. The Lord reveals qualities that are suitable and beneficial for a particular jiva. The jivas are unlimited. Their natures are unlimited. They are unlimitedly different conditions. Therefore, in response to them, your qualities are unlimited. To different persons, unlimited in their number and nature, have realizations of Krishna that differ from person to person. Within all that variety, there is supreme unlimitedness. The painting is a reproduction of the cover of Canto 1 Srimad Bhagavatam. That is impossible to count, what to speak of the unlimited places and time in their various planets. Vishwanath writes. I'm just go quickly to finish up this section from chapter 14. Vishwanath reasons. Therefore, a person who has given up all other types of spiritual practice and only does bhakti obtains you. That's the gist of this section. What is the mindset for such a sadhaka? Brahma talks about it. And here, look at this verse number 8, one more. This is a very important verse. Tate nukampam susamiksha. Let's say the verse. Tate nukampam susamikshamano bhunjana eva lakritam vipakam ridvag vapurbir vidadhan namaste jiveta yo mukti pade sadayabhak. Translation, here's the word for word. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds, and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. Now this verse is an important, as verse 3, this verse 8 is a very important verse. Here Prabhupada writes in Nectar of Devotion, this statement of Bhagavatam should be the guide of all devotees. A devotee who is not perfectly freed from the resultant actions should therefore continue to act in Krishna consciousness seriously, even though there may be so many impediments. When such impediments arise, he should simply think of Krishna and expect his mercy. That is the only solace. Good instruction. If the devotee passes his days in that spirit, it is certain that he is going to be promoted to the abode of the Lord. By such activities, he earns his claim to enter into the kingdom of God. More commentary. Here's that same verse. Earnestly hoping for mercy. Expecting mercy is not the same as expecting happiness. How to expect mercy? No, people may want mitigation of a problem and replace the problem with happiness. Instead of get more mercy, whatever that means, whatever it looks like, whatever it feels like. When the intention of the devotee is that Krishna should be pleased. Krishna can do with me whatever he likes. This is Lord Chaitanya's teaching, isn't it? You can embrace me, you can neglect me, you can make me brokenhearted, you can trample me under your feet, you can do with me whatever you like. No, that's not an easy thing to say and to mean. But that's mercy. And whatever happens, it's mercy. Expecting mercy while enduring the consequences of one's past karma, combined with seeking to face it with a mood of devotional service to Guru and Krishna, that's where the mercy comes. Karma, another way of saying what karma, Atma Kritam Vipakam, that's right from the verse. Atma Kritam, what we do, Kritam, Atma Kritam Vipakam. The result of karma is accrued or earned by oneself. This is Sridhar Swami's commentary. While expecting your compassion, that is, while often thinking, when will you show mercy to me, and not only experiencing the result of karma accrued by oneself, but not toiling by performing harsh austerities and so on. Same phrase, bhujan evatma kritam vipakam. The sense is those results must be experienced. Hence, there is no consideration of being attached to happiness. The painting that's Sanatana Goswami writing, and over to his left, that's his Madan Mohan deity. And, whatever happens, happens. And let me not deviate one iota, one fraction of anything from this wishing to be in pleasing service to Krishna. And then what happens, happens. Without, provided you give me this and that and the other thing. And, that's my happiness. So that's not what the verse is saying, please don't do that. Not even being attached to not going through the results of one's karma. Here's examples. Here's Maharaj Parikshit draping a dead snake around the sage Shamak Rishi's neck, and as a result, he gets the result. So the snake bird comes and bites him. Or over on the left, this is King Chitraketu becomes eventually a liberated soul, a king of Vidyadhara Loka, and he becomes intimate associate of Lord Shiva, and he passes coming to pay a visit to Lord Shiva, and as he's passing through his Vimana, he makes some comment to Lord Shiva, hey, Parvati, sit it on your lap, as if he's a lusty fellow. Now he's not saying it that way, but Parvati thinks he is, and so she curses him. And there's the consequences, and he's happy with the consequences because it's the reciprocation with the personality of Godhead. These are just some graphics to illustrate this 8th verse. There's a heart and there's a doorway in the heart. Earnestly hoping for the Lord's mercy towards transformation of consciousness while patiently enduring one's karma and offering obeisances to the Lord with one's heart, words, and body. Hrid Vag Bapubir Vidadhan Namaste. I think I'm going to end because it's just repeat. Just the graphics are great, but it's repeating the same message. There's no harm repeating the same message again and again because then it may sink in, or more likely to sink in. The essence of expecting the Lord's mercy and essence of patiently enduring fruits of karma culminates in expressing one's surrender to the Lord in the form of offering obeisances with our three main faculties, heart, words, and body. There's the fellow down at the bottom. There's good fortune and ill fortune, and he's looking to Krishna in both circumstances. Namo Namaste. Here's a reference from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on the same point. 4th Canto, Chapter 20. As a father mercifully makes his son drink milk and bitter juice time and time again, embraces him, kisses him, and draws him close with the hand, so only my master, not I, knows what is good for me. Hence, time, karma, and the like have no influence on me, your devotee. Thus, out of mercy, you make me experience happiness and sorrow and induce me to serve you. Very nice. So the externals are inconsequential. They are, but it's what they are is like the father doing this and doing that and the other thing with the son, and the son with a loving father and trusting the loving father feels happiness whether it's something sweet or something bitter. If he's ill, he gets something bitter. But that's good. Jiveta yo mukte swadaya bhak. Only while living does one partake in or inherit a gift as regards the affluence of the Father. This is Baladev Vidyabhusan commentary. This is a very important verse, so there's lots of commentary on this important verse. Only while staying on the path of bhakti does a person become recipient of the gift of his feet. Jiveta in this context means living or being alive in devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master. I'm going to end. There's more slides, but it's becoming, I'm just going to end. I'm just going through it quickly because I'm thinking about my travel tomorrow. And any one of these points could be taken and expanded upon and relish the topic further because it's such an important verse. Verse number 3 and verse number 8. So I invite you in your own time, your own leisure, because I'm going to be departing tomorrow, going to the next place, but you'll be here, hopefully, and spend some time with those two verses. You've been given some hints of what our acharyas say, and if the nature of Srimad Bhagavatam is, it's a very nice teaching. There's the sound vibration, and within the sound vibration, the personality of Godhead becomes revealed. I'll say it again. There's a storyline, and the storyline is the pastime. And along with the pastime, the personality of Godhead is revealing himself. It's not, he's performing a pastime, and he's, in this case, reciprocating with Lord Brahma. And Brahma is a highly learned person, most learned person, and he's giving his realization. And from the words of Brahma sharing his realization, by hearing the slokas again and again and meditating on the meaning, Krishna becomes revealed. It's like anything, a little bit like a deity. And then the deity, there's the procedure and the regulation of worshiping the deity. And those that become very attached to their home deity or the temple deity or serving the deity, there's reciprocation. It's not, the regulative becomes a little bit more than regulative, becomes highly personal. The Bhagavatam is such a literature. Krishna becomes revealed. So these commentaries by acharyas, for example, Vishwanath, it's his realization. Within the words, there's embedded meanings, and by Vishwanath's association, we can understand those embedded meanings. And any one of us, by regularly reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna becomes revealed. There's a potency within that sound vibration. So it's worth our effort. It's a worthy effort to invest time and energy in hearing regularly and in association with other devotees, discussing and meditating upon and remembering the verses and massaging the verses so that the meaning, the Krishna becomes revealed through the verses. That's how the Bhagavatam works. Or that's a special feature of it. Unique amongst scriptures. Okay. You sat very patiently through all of this. Well done. When I was 8 years old, I don't think I could have sat through all of this. Kijai. Good going. Any comments or questions? Almost 8 o'clock. Yes.
This is a question with regard to the 10.14 verse.
Yes.
Then come back. So it's mentioned that endure the past reactions of karma.
Yes.
So how much of an effort do we have to put to mitigate those reactions, and how much of it we just have to say, okay, just let it come and I will face it.
Sara. Something modest, a Krishna conscious effort, and that's it.
Right now I am going through my parents' health and back and forth. And yeah, I'm kind of not sure what needs to be done and how to approach some of the problems.
Well, life has its problems. There's not a point in, it may seem like there's a point in time where there's no problem, and that's just a sign there's a problem around the corner. Because it's the nature of the place. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. And then even the dukkha is temporary, ashashvatam. The whole place is temporary. So, never lose focus on what's the human life mission. And so according to your capacity, within reason, what does that mean within reason? A reasonable effort, not too much, not too little, don't be negligent and cavalier, and don't be obsessive either. Make some practical arrangement according to what's meaningful for a given circumstance. And you rely more on Krishna than your own intelligent endeavor. Because Krishna can make things happen that your intelligent endeavor cannot. So we make some intelligent endeavor, and Krishna can do with that intelligent endeavor whatever Krishna wants. So that takes, to be moderate or modest in one's efforts, that takes intelligence because we're fruitive. We're thinking, it's on me. And it's not. We serve in a reasonable way, in a modest, The difficulty is, once you go down the path of trying to fix a problem, you lose the purpose, and you become, the doer, kartaham, and you become obsessive about, I got to do this and I got to do that, and you lose track of your sadhana, you lose track of Krishna, you lose track of the purpose of life, and the circumstances that we're in. The circumstance we're in is we bought into a bad bargain. Material life. So continue being respectful to others and make some reasonable effort, and make your primary effort that if Krishna, if you so desire, and then you fill in the blank for each circumstance. It's easier said than done, but it's important. Yes?
Hare Krishna.
Haribol, you got to push that little button on the side. There we go, you're green.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this is nice lecture. But in the start you say there is a pastime of Brahma and pastime of demigods. So what is the difference, this pastime of demigods and pastime of Brahmas? I can understand. What is the relation between them?
The demigods, and who's the other category?
Brahma's pastime.
Brahma, okay. Okay. Brahma isn't actually engaging in a pastime unless it's directly connected to Krishna. So let's go vertically up. There's the hellish planets, then there's the earth planet, and then Bhuvar Loka and Svarga Loka. Svarga Loka is where the demigods reside, and they're mixed devotees. They're devotees, but they have a mix. They want fill in the blank. They want power, they want longevity, they want opulence, they want. And they're devotees. They're mixed devotees. So they don't exactly perform pastimes, but they're devotees. So they're to be respected because they're devotees. And they do their service on behalf of the Supreme.
So these demigods, they are also devotees?
They're also devotees. Mixed.
Their work is just like human beings?
No, but they're higher than human beings. Yeah.
But they are kind of same human beings category?
Yes. They're in the same category. Yes. Yes. And then your question was specifically the contrast between the demigods and Brahma is above the demigods. He's the source of the demigods. He's the source of creation, and part of creation is he generates demigods. There's details of how that happens, but he's their source. Now Brahma has a source, and Krishna is the source of Brahma, who's actually the source of the demigods and creation and what Brahma does. But he's in a separate category, above, vertically above, and consciousness-wise above, empowered by Krishna above. He's the chief. He's not in the same category as demigods. He's the source of them. He's the chief. He's the commander. And they do according to indications from him. When they have a problem, they go to him. And then he's got to figure it out. And sometimes he can't figure it out, so he goes to Vishnu. Help! They offer prayers at the shore of the Milk Ocean, and too many demoniac kings in the earthly realm, and please help us. Yes. Like that. So he's their chief. Yes.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. So I'm thinking about speculative knowledge, and what would one's compulsion to speculate? Is that trusting their own ability or disregarding their higher authority or shastras? What is that they are impelled to speculate? And
what's the impetus to do speculation?
yeah. Ability, right.
I'm smart. I'm going to figure it out. I got my little flashlight, and I'm looking at the sky, and I'm looking for the sun with my little flashlight. But I got a powerful flashlight. So there is such a thing as Brahman, and I know that there is such a thing, and I'm relying upon my little flashlight to find Brahman. And it may be revealed to such a person, it may not also. But if it is revealed, it's not by their little flashlight, it's by the mercy of Brahman, and then that realization is passed on. But it's relying upon one's speculative power to understand the nature of the Absolute, which is beyond me. But I may conclude I am that supreme. That was pretty good. That's a product of speculation, because I'm not supreme. I'm part of qualitatively like. Okay? Okay. Others? Yes, okay.
Yeah, thank you, Guru Maharaj. Wonderful class. I was going back to the same verse, the Brahma's verse.
Which one?
10.14.8.
Okay.
Same Rati Prabhu asked.
Okay.
No, something we see as practicing sadhakas is predominantly doer mentality.
Predominantly what?
Doer mentality.
Yes.
Whether it's chanting or doing worship or predominantly. This is my introspection.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and it's driven by
It's
false.
the nature of this place. We're here because of that fruitive tendency. We have a fruitive tendency, and it drives all of what we do. Yes. It can be work, or it can be not. His question, endeavor for speculation, but it's fruitive. It's me. I'm at the center. No?
Yeah. So my question is two-faced. We see, like you talked about Chitraketu Maharaj going through that challenging time.
Yes.
And he took that whole challenging as full mercy, or Bali Maharaj.
Yes.
That ability to take a challenging situation as a full mercy. It was like no challenge, no distress, just taking it the Lord's arrangement. That's number one. Then we also see Avanti Brahmana who gets beaten up badly, and then finally he realizes that these are not the people who are causing me, but it's my mind which is causing. So I'm seeing this two difference. One is people who are fully realized, going through challenging situation, and one is people getting beaten up. So Maya has a unique formula for all of us. I'm saying, okay.
Yeah. No, the Avanti Brahmana is a unique person. But, he was a Brahmana, but he was a miser. He wasn't behaving like a Brahmana. And so, he was mistreating others, so he became mistreated. And then, anyway, so he got his realization in a way that he got his realization. So, back to, we're each unique, and there's a way that the Absolute Truth may reveal himself to each of us according to our individual natures. And when that happens, that's special mercy, because it doesn't always happen. Some people just go on like donkeys, getting beaten, and they just think that's life. Or they, become morose, or become depressed, or something. Yeah. We're busy over on this side, looking over here. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So on the same verse, 8th verse.
Yes.
So it says a devotee should endure the difficulties which is due to the past karmas and wait for the mercy of the Lord. So is this mercy, I was just trying to understand what is this mercy. Is it to come closer to Krishna?
Depends on what they want.
Or
That's what you're asking is his question also, or his point also. Different persons are going to get a different mercy depending upon what they want.
depending on what they want.
Yeah, and what they deserve.
What they deserve will be given by the law of karma, right?
Well, that's a factor, but Krishna can trump the karma. Look at Putana. There's rules and there's exceptions to the rules, and Krishna can make exceptions to the rules. But the general, she's not like Putana wanted to go become a nurse in Goloka Vrindavan, but that's what she received. So it's not just what they want, and exactly what they. So the mercy factor, this chatak bird example, is mercy may come however it may come, and the Lord is going to decide what's best for us. Not necessarily what we want. So the child may want the milk and they don't want the bitter. But if they have a disease, they're going to get the bitter.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Over here.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. I was wondering, how is this a prayer? Because usually, commonly in the prayer we are asking for something, and sometimes as etiquette or other reasons we glorify. But a lot of the prayers in the Srimad Bhagavatam is philosophy.
That's okay.
About Krishna.
That's okay. So there are different configurations of the verses of a prayer. But it's with supplication, approaching a superior and praying to the superior. He's received the mercy. He like completely received the mercy, and now he's offering prayers of this. Initially, it's glorification. That's also a prayer. So, and then it keeps going because there's a whole different sets of this particular chapter. The makeup is different. I think I'm going to end because of the flight tomorrow isn't going to wait for me. So thank you all. We'll see you again sometime down the road. And thank you all for coming, participating. A request: read verse 3 and 8 from chapter 14. Learn the verse, meditate on the verse, meditate on the sound of the verse and the message that's being conveyed through that sound vibration, and may Krishna reveal himself to you more tomorrow than today. It's a nice process. Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki,